The Ender 3 3D printer was an open source, very popular 3D printer kit that many of us learned on. This one here is an Ender 3 Pro, so it's got some upgrades. In fact, this, I believe, is the most popular Ender 3 sold. After this, they came out with a bunch of different versions and confused everybody. But there's still people using these. There's still people buying these because I get emails asking questions about it. I got Patreon supporters who are using this and want some help. I've got profiles out there that people are still downloading. My e-leveler tool for getting the bed level, still selling really well. So there's a whole segment of users using Ender 3s. Whether you got one for free or you're actually buying it, I wanted to show you a few things to look out for because I know these printers really well. There's a few things you want to stay away from or things that you know you're going to have to spend money to fix. And also, I want to introduce you to the CryoGrip bed, which makes this printer work amazingly well at getting the first layer to stick. So let me explain it all right here at Filament Pride.
This video is sponsored by PCB.
You can still buy one of these on Amazon for around $200. I mean, the price seems to have gone up. For a while there, you can get them for like around $100, $125, even on Amazon. But now it's like $200. I don't know if that's tariffs or what it is, but I don't necessarily say I'd buy there unless you like the return policy. You can get better deals on eBay. There's some people selling them new in the box, or you can get it from Facebook Marketplace. Now, Facebook Marketplace, I was shocked how many people are asking $150 to $180 for these machines, and you can see that they've modded them and done things, so you know it's been messed with. I'd rather get one that was stock or close to it, like this one. And also, if it's new in the box, I'd go for that too. And I did find on Facebook Marketplace you could get one for about $100 new in the box. In fact, that seller had 6 of them. And that's not a bad price to get started with 3D printing, although I still recommend you look at something like the A1 Mini from Bamboo Labs, or the A1 itself, or even a Prusa Mini, because it's going to be a better printer. It's going to have auto level. It's going to have a lot of features, but some people don't have that budget. They only have $100 or $150, and that's what I hear from a lot of the emails that I get, is they want to get involved, but they're really on a tight budget. And that's where some people actually get screwed, because they buy one, they think they're getting a good deal, but they don't realize what they're actually buying. So that's why I wanted to show a few things to look out for. The first thing you want to do is get your hands on it. To buy it from eBay and then have them ship it to you and you don't know what you're shipping, that's kind of risky. Where Facebook Marketplace, you can actually go and meet the person, even if it's in a parking lot somewhere, or some people like to go to the police station. But you want to go somewhere where you have power, so you can power the thing up. Don't buy it unless you can power it up and see how it works. And from that, you can learn a lot. The first thing you want to do is preheat the hot end. And you can go right into the menu and select preheat for PLA. And just let the hot end heat up, because this is where a lot of the problems occur. And what you want to do is let it heat up to its full, like 220 degrees or 210 degrees, whatever it's set to. And then you want to take your finger and just get near this right here. And if you can touch it and hold your finger there, everything's good. But if you touch it and it's hot, you go, I can't touch that, then it's not necessarily the hot end, it's the fan. The fans are weak on these things. They'll break blades, they'll get clogged with stuff, they'll still be spitting, but they're so slow, they're not cooling the heat sink, which makes up the hot end. So if you've got that problem, you already know you're going to have to tear it apart and replace the fan on your 3D printer. Another thing you want to do once it's heated up, and mine's heated up now, you can hear the fan blowing, and that's common. These fans are really loud. You can actually lift this up and don't worry about spinning the motor. People tell you don't do that, don't worry about it. But have some filament so you can squeeze the arm. There's a extruder top which has an arm on it, spring loaded. Squeeze it so you can push the filament, and once it's heated up, push the filament with your hand. Just push it all the way through. It's going to be a little bit stiff, but you should be able to push it through and see filament come out the other side. If it doesn't, then you've got a bigger problem. You've got a clog in there because the fan didn't cool it, so now the PTFE tubing is all messed up. That's another sign. This is why they're selling it. Now, if you have that problem, don't fret. Just offer them less. Or if someone gave you this printer and you're like, oh, now what do I do? You can get a whole new assembly with a new fan, new shroud, new hot end, new PTFE tubing, all new wiring, but you have to route it and put it in. But you can get this whole assembly for right around $21 on Amazon. So it's really cheap to get parts for these things, and this way you turn it into a new machine. So it's good to buy it as a backup anyway, but if you get a machine, say someone gave it to you and it's got this problem, just buy this whole kit. It's so much easier. Another thing to look out for is when you're pushing that filament through and you're pressing on the arm, that arm should feel stiff. If it feels like it's flexing, then it may be cracked. There is a brass insert where the filament goes in, but below that, it tends to crack on these plastic arms. You don't see it right away unless you know what you're looking for, but if it feels like it's flexing too much, it's probably cracked. And the best thing to do is don't even worry about that. Replace it with a metal version of that extruder top. And you can get that on Amazon for $10 or less. So this for about $20, $21, and the extruder top for another $10. You got about $30, $31 plus shipping that you're going to have to put into this. So take that into account when they're asking $150 and it's got these problems. Another thing to check when you heat it up to hot end is you probably heated up the bed too. Just make sure it's heating up. Just touch it. You don't have to hold your hand there, but you'll feel that it's about 60 degrees C, which is pretty warm. If it's not hot at all and you did set it to heat the bed, then check the wires at the back. There's 2 wires that are soldered to the back of the board here. If those solder joints are bad, a lot of times they'll burn. The wire will be burned. That's a bigger problem. I wouldn't even go near that printer at that point and say, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Another thing to look at is the control board that controls the printer. It's actually in this box on the bottom. And there's 3 screws you can take off and pull this panel back to see what it is. Now, they may not want you to do that. They may not want you to take the screws off and look. But you can actually see through the vent holes. If you take your phone and zoom in and focus on the inside, you can see what the number is, what the version number is. If it's a version 4.2.2, then that's good. You've got the latest 32-bit with the silent drivers. Excellent. If you see a version like this one, version 1.1.5 or 1.1.4 or 1.1.3, those are 8-bit boards, and they're not going to have the latest drivers. I think the 1.1.5 does have the latest drivers, but it's still an 8-bit microcontroller, and it's not the best. It's not going to be easy to update or as easy as the 32-bit. Now, there is a version 4.2.7, which is an aftermarket version like the 4.2.2, which you can use to replace the 8-bit with 32-bit. The 4.2.7 is 32-bit. If you see that when you look in there, then you know they've updated an 8-bit machine to the 32-bit machine, and you know everything else is older, but you've got the latest control board. And speaking of control boards or circuit boards, can we thank my sponsor, PCBWay.com? They offer circuit boards, 10 circuit boards for $5 plus shipping. That is a great deal. And they've got a special going on right now for the month of September. You can get purple solder mask. Makes it look purple, really cool looking. It's like a $38 value you're getting for free if you order boards this month from PCBWay.com. So if you need circuit boards, check them out. 10 boards for $5 plus shipping from PCBWay.com. Now, if you're shopping around, I recommend the Ender 3 Pro over the standard Ender 3. And the way you can tell is the SD card. The SD card slot on the Ender 3 Pro is towards the top versus the original Ender 3, the SD card's down by the bottom. And that's because they put the board on the bottom on the Ender 3. The SD card slot was here, and then they flipped the board over, put it on the top on the Ender 3 Pro, and that's where the SD card is upside down and inserts at the top. So that's how you can tell an Ender 3 versus an Ender 3 Pro. Another difference between the Ender 3 Pro and the Ender 3, the Ender 3 has a fixed bed. It's got something stuck right to the aluminum plate, where the Ender 3 Pro has a magnetic base, and then they have this flexible thing that goes on top. Now, it seemed like it'd be nice because you could just flex your bed and pop the print off, but it wears out like instantly. It's terrible bed material. So what I recommend is this. This is the Biqu CryoGrip bed, and it's designed for magnetic beds. Works great on the Ender 3 Pro. You just clip it on there, it's solid, and this thing grips the PLA. If you get your bed close to level by either the paper method, and I got a file for that you can download, or use my e-leveler, which lights an LED when you're adjusting the bed so it's easier to tell whether you're level or not. You get either one of those close to level on this thing, and this bed will take over. It'll hold your prints. It works fantastic. Now, they did send me some of these to try out a while back, and I was so impressed. I've got this bed material on all my 3D printers. I'm sold on it. I know some people, they like their PEI, they like their PC, they like whatever wham bam or whatever they got out there. This, to me, is the best bed material I've used, and so I highly recommend if you're going to get an Ender 3, Ender 3 Pro, get this bed material. It'll change your frustration. You will have far less troubles getting prints to stick on your Ender 3, which is probably the number one complaint most beginners have with Ender 3s. Now, if you do want to get an Ender 3 and you want something a little more modern, then I recommend this. The Ender 3 V3 SE. This was like the last main machine. They come out with a clipper version and some other stuff, but this one works really good. It's got a really good auto level system on it. It does use a PC type bed. I believe it's PC. I would still put a CryoGrip in this, and it is magnetic, but it's got dual rods in the back, so it's better than a single rod, which this has. It's got other nice features to it. It's actually a pretty good machine. Even a filament runout sensor can be added, which I showed in a video. Doesn't come with it, but this is a really good machine, and for $219 on eBay, or I'm sorry, Amazon. So this was what, $209 for $10 more? This is a lot better machine. But if once you get into that price range, $219, honestly, I think you need to bump it up another $40 and get an A1 Mini from Bamboo Labs. It's not going to be open source. It's going to be a little smaller bed, but the features you get are phenomenal compared to, what you have here. But if you're down in that 150 or less range and you're buying used, look for those tips. I hope it helps you. Now, I'm sure there's a few tips that I missed that experienced users might want to chime in. You can chime in the description below. Be nice, but let the beginners know that if you got to go this route, you've got a tight budget and you're going to buy one of these used, give them what tips you found as well. I think I covered the most important ones, but if you got some, I'd love to see them in the comments below. And if you are buying one of these or bought one or someone gave it to you, let me know what experience you had. What was your biggest problem? Maybe I can cover that in a future video. I want to give a shout out to all my Patreon supporters. Without their support, I couldn't do this channel. Thank you. If you like what I'm doing here, maybe check out some of the videos popping up. If you want to help support the channel, Patreon is one way, or a membership at thangs.com. And if nothing else, click on the logo and subscribe. I'll see you next time right here at Chuck Hellebuck's Electronic Products and Filament Friday.